What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Apartment Shenanigans. This is Avery, and I'm here again with Jason.
Hello.
And Ben's not here right now, but we're going to be talking about the show RWBY, the show created by Rooster Teeth, and just random things about that and see where it takes us. But Jason, you're the one who actually got me introduced to RWBY, so I'll let you actually just take the helm right now. You said you had something to talk about regarding it.
RWBY is just a very interesting show, I believe. Created by Monty Ohm, who a phenomenal artist, innovator, basically animator. He passed away back in 2015. That was after about season 3 of the RWBY series. But it's continued on with Rooster Teeth. The show follows a premise surrounding the elements of the stories of Grimm. So certain characters such as Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Beauty and the Beast, are kind of one of the central points from where RWBY is derived from. And it's just an interesting take on the entire universe of the world that they actually created there, utilizing that one story element so you at least have a point of reference, in addition to having very unique weapons, one that actually starts off as more of a melee weapon that converts into a ranged type weapon. So we'll go a little bit of detail regarding those types of features and functionalities within that later on within this podcast.
But yeah, like all the characters that have like the weapons and like they all have dual capabilities, like you said, close range. What RWBY's is a sniper.
It's a death scythe, which can turn into a sniper rifle. Her sister, who was actually known as her sister, Yang, she has gauntlets. So basically, think of gloves, but they also function as little shotguns. We have
the shotguns, but then she also can like kind of project the shotgun blast shell or it's far range.
Yeah, it's actually quite unique. Actually, how she uses her particular weapon. You have Yang. I mean, not Yang. I apologize. We have Blake, who has a small SMG, but also turns into a short blade katana.
Forgot about that.
And then you have Weiss, who has a rapier sword, which is actually turns into a revolver. Hardly ever used in a revolver fashion, but when utilizing her semblance, utilizes the revolving function to change.
Yeah, she only uses it in that. Can she even shoot at all?
I haven't seen her shoot anything.
Yeah.
Well, she has the ability to utilize dusk and throw out hieroglyphs for others or herself to use. So that's one way that she shoots out from her weapon.
Like she only ever uses the revolver function to change the whatever dust that she's using.
Haven't seen her do it in any other fashion within the series as of yet.
But yeah, those are just the main 4 characters, and they create Team RWBY. The first letter of their name is a acronym.
Correct.
For the team's name, so RWBY spelled RWBY rather than the way you would normally spell it. But just kind of jumping into the show itself, this 5 volume seasons?
5 seasons as of right now. The 6th one is scheduled to come out later on this year. The series, when first coming out, was, I believe, the fact that the episodes were shorter.
Yeah, like 4 minutes on some, 7 minutes on others.
But the way that the show has transformed itself. The first 3 seasons, very well known storytelling, good action sequences, and it got you right to the point that you needed to get to very quickly. In season 4 and season 5, spent more time with character development. However, some individuals have actually criticized that the action's not where it was in previous seasons. How the characters are developing wasn't properly fleshed out. So again, a lot of people are actually taking creative liberties and creative differences when actually putting out this particular final product.
See, people like you specifically, and my other friend Jordan, he was talking about all that too, saying like there's a huge difference in all the fight scenes and the choreograph, and I didn't see it.
So I'll say this much: in the first 3 seasons, they release a fun episode. Fun.
Okay.
Think of any traditional or some traditional animes where the fact that you will have an episode that basically makes no sense, doesn't really have a tie into any of the plot development, but it was just something fun to have, lighthearted, such as like the food fight, the dance party, the dance off.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that was just also just building the characters so you got to know them better, but I don't think they knew exactly what they wanted RWBY to be from the beginning, so they just kind of was just throwing things out there, having these like one-off episodes, and eventually build a plot later on.
Well, think about it this way: the dance off actually led to plot development. That's when Cinder first actually showed up at the school and actually infiltrated and made some changes and made some differences. The food fight started off the 3rd season, which basically says after this is going to get a lot darker. It's going to, like, basically we're reaching a particular point, a particular climax, but this is your lightheartedness. Like, oh, this is all the things we can possibly do, and we're only going to do this fun as a food fight, but things are about to get very interesting going forward from this point. The downside is, since that, it's actually followed a very serious tone, and if it's going to go down this road, I appreciate it. However, embrace it and go forward wholeheartedly. During one of the, and I do apologize, this podcast might actually have plenty of spoilers that we actually might talk about throughout, but during one of the particular finales of season 3, a major change did actually take place, and Rooster Teeth actually announced before that episode aired, hey, we just want to let everyone know, if you have children watching this particular program, this is about to get dark. And things are about to change, and this change will be permanent. It will be canon. So just keep that in mind as little ones start to watch this. And I'm saying this trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible for those who have not seen this particular series as of yet.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe someone that we don't know is listening, and they'll be like, "Hey, this sounds interesting." But I don't know. Like season 3, yeah, there was that big change, but also everyone says it was because of Monty's death that this huge change happened at the end. BC died, I think, in the middle of season 3.
His death. He died in February of 2015.
Yeah. I don't know when season 3 ended.
I believe season 3 was already storyboarded. Everything already took place, and all the animation for it was already completed. Again, like we can probably look up the exact details regarding it. But the story for it in and of itself was written out all the way throughout season 3, and I believe that the true end game was actually already conveyed to the Rooster Teeth team. So whatever end game that's actually in mind, I believe that team should already know what needs to happen.
I mean, even like that's what I think they said, that Monty had a way the story was going, and he trusted certain people to do it. And it looks like season 3 actually began in late 2015, so he was already dead when it actually started airing. But who knows how long the development cycle was for that? Yeah,
because again, it is a lot of animation.
And even like the animation style changed a lot from the drastic change from season 3 to 4, which they just added like a lot more detailed background colors, and I think even had like watercoloring to some of the scenes.
Watercoloring, they flushed out a lot of the background characters. Like from season 1 to season 2, every character that was not important to the main 4 or even the main 8 was just viewed as a black silhouette, which actually I enjoyed. It allowed any viewer to just kind of focus on exactly who you needed to see who was on the screen at that moment.
See, I didn't like it. It bothered me. I just stared at them, and I was like, it was distracting for me. I didn't like, nah.
So what I appreciate is the fact that now I don't like when looking at something like that, that means that whoever is around didn't really matter. And then that's the way I kind of looked at that particular aspect. Now, yes, it was Monty's project. It was Monty's baby. He actually did majority of the motion capture for each one of those particular characters in season 1. So when it comes to that, there was a lot of work that he put into himself, and he might not have been able to get all the things that he wanted to get out at the same time. So he might have put out an unfinished product. I don't know. I can't speak for the man. However, I can appreciate the artistic value that he actually put into making those silhouette characters, because he could have just left them out entirely.
But that would have made it a little bit. I think that would be weird.
It would have actually made it very stagnant. However, going back to that same aspect, the last episode of season 5, where they all were coming together and right. They had the big fight, you didn't really see any of those background characters. It was literally just a very big open area.
Well, I think that was the point, and then not until the very end. And I'm going to say it right now. We're going to go into spoilers territory now onward, and at the very end, after they're outside like the building,
inside the building, the crowd, the people were just gone.
No, the people were there when they were outside because like it was all the Faunus.
So you had Faunus there. However, you were supposed to have this large organization of the White Fang. Yeah, they were almost non-existent. It looked like there was only 12 of them in total for a large organization.
Well, didn't all of them like run away? And that was kind of the point too. Like the people that didn't run, they joined RWBY and the hunters and huntresses.
The sheer number of White Fang that were actually present in those shots mm-hmm. didn't seem as though that organization could ever have been a threat. It feels as though that
But Adam was there. But Adam was like, it's kind of like the whole mob mentality. Once you like defeat their leader, they're gone and they're done for. I think that was the same thing, and because Adam was this powerful person, they didn't need anyone else.
I believe that even Ravens camp by themselves could have been able to infiltrate that particular area and overtake Adam's group based upon the numbers that were actually represented in that scene. Because again, it didn't feel as though that it was a large organization that actually it toppled in minutes.
Yeah. Real fast, Adam. I was just reading his semblance and like, what? There's so many semblances that they don't actually like talk about into a lot of detail. Mm-hmm. And Adam's like at the end of season 3 when he just cuts through Yang. Mm-hmm. God, I need to find his semblance. I think his semblance is very similar to Yang's, to the point where he's basically like stores up energy, mm-hmm. and he can release it in one big strike. So let's see what it's called. Moon Slice.
So he's Bishop.
Bishop?
X-Men.
Yeah. Let's see what it says here. Absorbing an attack with his sword, and then cutting his opponent with a counter force so that's what he does. It's basically Yang's semblance. Just Yang builds it up, and she kind of just goes Super Saiyan and like kind of multiplies her entire ability when he stores his stuff in his sword, and he can output it with just his sword.
Which would explain the reason why when the two of them went head to head, why Yang lost that particular battle.
Yeah. But that's one thing they never really explained, like
how his semblance works and how well that actually it affects. I believe Adam was a character that actually has a lot of different elements. He's very complex, has a lot of layers to him. The downside is I'm not sure if in season 5 they painted him to be a villain. Yeah, wholeheartedly a villain, but without much depth. Like, again, everything prior to season 5, he was a mystery. The fact that we had we had Blake, who was a part of the White Fang, and the fact that she followed him, she actually had feelings for this individual, and at one point she just said, I can't do this anymore. But he kept going down his own path, and all you know is that he ended up joining Torix. Clockwork Orange guy. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But he joined that particular group. He joined Cinder.
But he only joined the groups to use them and then get rid of them.
Which is what most individuals like that. Like Cinder partner herself up with a certain individual so she can get better. Because everyone partnered up with everyone else except for Salem. Salem just needed.
Salem's using people though.
Yeah, she just needs bodies.
Well, yeah, and I don't. Maybe she's not partnering with them. Like it's not like they use them and
it's not
vice versa. But she's definitely.
I'm not sure how mutually beneficial it is because it's not like the fact that Salem's actually gaining any power herself from it.
Because she used Lionheart and she used that Scorpion guy, and the Scorpion guy seems to be like in love with Salem. Mm-hmm. And then using Cinder, but Cinder's trying to use Salem, maybe.
Speaking of Cinder, have you seen the end of her?
I don't think so.
That was on screen, bro. That was on screen.
It was, yeah. Like they hinted at obviously something happened in the season 3 with the white eyes and Ruby, or silver eyes, but she was silent all of season 4. Season 5 comes around, and then she just gets frozen and falls. Like, I feel like anyone could survive that pretty easily, especially Cinder. Her power, not only having the Maiden's power, but her power as fire or whatever it is. But no, she only had fire because of the Maiden's power.
Correct.
But because of that power, I feel like she could get out of that real easily. Or do you think because it was a Maiden versus Maiden power?
I believe it was Maiden versus Maiden. That actually might be the end result. The question is, so who do you think gained her power? There's only one person that comes to mind. If she actually,
it would have to be Ruby.
No, I don't believe it would have been Ruby.
Why?
One of the thoughts or one of the statements that they did make is when they transfer powers is either if there's no one around,
one with the closest vicinity. So you think Yang?
Well, the person who had the closest vicinity would have actually been Raven.
But I thought they said when a maiden dies, it gets passed down to whoever is in their thoughts.
That is also correct.
Cinder hated Ruby. Her whole thought process was to kill Ruby the entire last 2 seasons.
But who has always been there for Cinder?
The blue hair girl?
Emerald.
You think her?
I believe the fact
I feel like she never actually cared for her though.
That Cinder never cared for her?
Yeah.
But Emerald actually did care for her.
Well, yeah, but why would that matter in Cinder's dying moments?
The fact that Emerald's always, whenever she needed something, Emerald was always there. She was her voice when she didn't have one.
She was, but even so, like Emerald, did she turn a new leaf at the end?
She was wavering.
Yeah, because like her whole thing is she thought she was indebted to Cinder for saving her life when she was little. Mm-hmm. So if Cinder's gone for one, what she probably doesn't have a reason to live.
Revenge.
But revenge on Raven, and does that mean revenge on
revenge on the entire at that point when
I feel like that's not that strong of a.
I believe she had the same relationship as Blake and her best friend had, where the fact that it was one-sided, or one way street. Like basically, I feel this way, but you I don't care if you don't. And with that being the case, she looked up to her, she idolized her, and you now took that away from me. So with that being the case, it could just compound itself and then grow into something so much more dangerous that no one's ever thought of before. Because the maiden's powers that she took was fall, correct?
Cinder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we're throwing a color element into it, earth tones would probably work very well for that if they were utilizing that as a particular factor or something to just kind of play off or piggyback off of. So to throw in, we have autumn and we have greens and earthy tones, so let's just give that to Emerald. And I understand that this could possibly be a stretch.
I mean, if it was Emerald to get it just off of that, when did she get the? Oh, never mind.
Oh,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. No, that was just me being stupid. Forgetting that autumn is fall. God, I don't know. Maybe one thing I was actually watching, they were talking about everyone's semblances. Blake's is the Shadow.
Shadow, which actually has a slight ability to freeze.
No, it's elemental. Like, she can use a ton of different elements.
Okay.
And it's really similar to Sun's, where Sun casts after images.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think he can move when he uses his.
If you recall, back on the boat, he was able to move.
Wasn't he like he was using it like he was in a static position and like falling or something, and letting his little doppelgangers use it?
I'm trying to recall because I know that he casted 3 of them to fight the let's just call it Nessie, and you really didn't see him moving himself. But I do know the fact that Blake did take some time to actually try to help him recover. I'm not sure if he actually can utilize that semblance and still move on his own.
So Blake's, apparently it depends on what dust she decides to use. So if she uses fire, it creates an explosion. Ice, it can freeze people, and so on and so on. But how does she get her? Oh, the dust in her weapon.
Okay.
So I guess it's similar to Weiss, where she has a little bit stored somewhere in her weapon, and she can choose to use it when she makes her shadows.
Well, I believe they all actually utilize it in their weapons at some point, which is the reason why the Sneak Company works so well with the hunters and huntresses, because that's literally your ammunition that you're using to fight against the Grim.
RWBY with her bullets, so that's all dust. That would make sense.
Same thing with...
And Yang's gauntlets would be fire dust.
Yep, we can even go with everyone else. We go with Pyrrha, who like to use more of the exploding type.
Pyrrha?
Yeah.
When did Pyrrha use dust ever?
She used usually with her firearm. Season 1,
Pyrrha had a firearm?
Pyrrha had a regular rifle that converted to a spear and a shield.
I don't remember her using a gun ever.
So first time she used it, she used it to scope John as he was falling, and then she converted it from.
I thought she just
and then she converted it to a spear and threw it to save him. But she first looked at him not necessarily through a scope, but it was through the iron sights, and then she saw him.
Oh my god! She never used that except for this one scene.
Huh. It's interesting how the fact as she threw it off.
Yeah, she used the dust to get some momentum. Okay, I did not notice that at all.
It's those small little elements, and just so everyone knows, we just took a look back to see exactly how she utilized her spear when saving John from when they first were catapulted into an area where they had to pick up their tokens and split into teams. So Perry was a very well developed character. A lot of people were able to gravitate, understand, relate to this particular character. The one that I find to be, I'm guessing, most annoying will probably be Weiss. I don't find her to have that many redeeming qualities. She's trying to, in the past 2 seasons, she's been given more of a more humble approach. We're seeing more of her background, why she is the way that she is, but she's also battling with the idea that she's not her. One, she's not her sister, and she's definitely not her father. So with those elements that she's conflicting with, it's trying to provide a redeeming quality, but I'm not sure if it's too little, too late, or maybe I'm just stuck in my ways and I can't see past what she's been from season 1 through season 3.
I mean, from season 1, the get-go, she was supposed to be that annoying character that no one liked. She was meant to be that. And I think they even joke about that with some of the dialogue they have, especially with Weiss and RWBY. But I think she's slowly grown on me. Like, she has had her little redemption arc and kind of stepping away from her family and going against them to do what she wants to do. Even she already did go against her family by even going to be a huntress, because they didn't want her or her sister to do that, but they did anyway. changing gears a little bit, one of the questions that I was thinking about, Salem and Oz.
Okay.
What do you think their relationship is? Because, like, Oz is old because he reincarnates and people with a similar mindset as him.
Didn't he, was it actually alluded that he was the old man from the story who actually created the Four Maidens?
I don't know. I don't think it was really, like, alluded. I think this is more like a theory that a lot of people are thinking about, because when we learn about the Four Seasons and the wizard, I think it's him telling the story. And I think the colors work for everyone in, like, the little animation style that they use telling the story as well.
Well, again, with this series, there's they're taking a lot of cues from different stories.
His name's also Oz.
His name's Oz. However, the story itself could be pulling from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I think that's what they were doing.
So if you're pulling from the Wizard of Oz, then you're throwing Salem, a witch, into this element as well. Salem witch trials. What if they're actually both the same entity? You can't have one without the other. So what if they were actually initially one being, and then when you started to create the maidens, or at least try to create this particular source to kind of balance everything out, you literally created your darkness.
So you think it's almost like, I don't know if you've seen it, Rava and Vatu from Legend of Korra?
Yeah. In a similar fashion.
They always have to be fighting, but in the world of Remnant and RWBY, the hunters and the huntresses didn't exist. I think they've only been, like, around for 80 years. They mentioned in one of the, like, Remnant episodes. So
they've only been around for that not that long. However, you've actually had individuals who were... So they've never been categorized as hunters or huntresses.
Only the academies have been there for, like, 80 years.
Yeah. So, but you have individuals who were... Like, one, you had maidens for centuries.
Right.
Because, again, you have all the incarnations of those particular women. In addition to this, you've had Grimm for years. And then...
So it's pretty clear that Salem makes the Grimm. Do you think...
She literally spawned it. But yeah.
She's like the Locust Queen. Do you think Oz created... Well... Now I'm kind of forgetting. Did Oz create the seasons? The wizard.
The wizard created the seasons. Or created the maidens.
The maidens. So do you think Oz, if he is the wizard, do you think he was the one who popularized using dust as weaponry in the first hunters or huntresses, even if that's not what they were called?
I don't think it was actually utilized as dust, but I believe the fact that it was given to allow the average individual a way to fight essentially the evil that he somewhat created. Because again, without...
This is so much like Avatar. The lion turtles gave humans the right to bend, but they had to give it back until Juan came with Rava saying we need to collect all of them to fight. Oh gosh.
Yeah, when you look at it from, again, the story it's the same story from different series, just spun entirely differently. And what I liked about RWBY is the fact that it had so much symbolism. It's rampant throughout the entire series. But I'm missing my point. What were we just talking about?
Oz.
No, what about Oz?
Is he the wizard? Did he create the hunters, huntresses?
I honestly want to say yes. I want to say the fact that he did create the hunters and huntresses. But my initial thought is the fact that Oz and the witch were one being at one point.
Do you think Oz can be trusted?
Actually, I don't think either of them can be trusted. We already know the fact that Salem can't be trusted. Oz has stated that he's done things that he is not proud of.
I need to look back and see Salem's small comments about Oz, because I know she just says small things like, oh.
Well, think about this. Oz also embedded Raven and Crow with magic.
But wasn't that their choice?
Was it though?
Because I'm pretty sure when Crow was telling them the story, he explains that they're like, how could he do that? And he was like, Crow kind of says like, oh, we chose to, but like, yeah, it was painful, but
so one, they chose to. They were sent there to actually infiltrate and destroy the school from the inside out. Mm-hmm. Oz found out what the plan was, said, it's cool, I'm still going to train you anyway, and hey, I can give you this particular ability so you can actually do things a little bit easier. How about if I give you the ability to convert yourself into birds? It's like, oh, well, you're going to give us those, so we're going to have all this training, have all these abilities, and we can turn ourselves into birds? Sweet. Why wouldn't we take this opportunity? And then come to find out, this might have been, well, better statement. Why did you actually have us have this ability? So the fact that we can infiltrate, spy, because literally, why else would, like, besides being able to travel long distances without being spotted, why else would you actually have the ability to do that? You're creating two individuals that can actually infiltrate into areas that you shouldn't be able to go to. Just like how they were two individuals that snuck into the school to destroy it from the inside out. You've given them this other ability to go out, scout, do other things for Oz. Literally creating his own secret army or his own secret agents.
Do you think it's a coincidence that they're able to turn into crows and ravens when, like, obviously it's like really ironic because that's their name, but the fact that they look like Grimm, the two animals that can fly that are all black,
which is one of the reasons why I believe that Oz and Salem are one and the same. Like, one, how did Oz have the ability to make that magic? Because again,
they also had the machine to transfer the maiden powers to Pyrrha, so it could also just be something like that, the machine they created.
No, but they actually said that he embodied them with magic. Salem, which is use magic.
And if he is the wizard, then he needs a wizard with magic. I don't know. I feel like we won't even find out till like volume 6 anyway.
Volume 12.
Another question I had, we're talking about Crow, Raven. Do you think Raven is redeemed?
No. Raven is your true... I'm trying to figure out the best word to actually put this at. Raven's your Black Goku.
I don't think so.
She has... So, is she redeemed? No. She's a horrible mother. Horrible mother.
So let me say this then. So she left. She left Yang. Mm-hmm. And
there's a great meme online. If you guys can find it, it's hilarious.
What's Yang's father's name?
We all know. We all know Ty. I think it is. We all know who he is.
So he left. She left them, but they make it clear that I think Crow and Raven both grew up in the village, or not the village, but I'm going to say the village.
The outcast camp.
Yeah, that Raven lives in. So all her life, she considered them family. Mm-hmm. And then she became a member of Team Stark to meet Crow, or not meet Crow, but be on Crow's team, meet Ty, and meet Summer. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was like a quick thing. Maybe like she fell in love, but then maybe didn't mean to have a kid. When she had a kid, she always wanted to go back to her family, but in her mind, her ideal of family was the family that raised her, and not the traditional sense of the word family. So in her head, maybe she's not being a terrible mother, because ever since season 1, you see a Raven following Yang in random scenes.
Is it a Raven or is it a Crow?
You have to take a closer look. But there is in volume 2, at the end when they're on the train, Raven saves Yang. Yang is gonna die. Raven uses her semblance to get a portal to her to save her. Like, she cares. She's a caring mother. She just left for reasons unknown. Maybe we'll find out.
So, Raven's loyalty resides to her camp, her group that she's actually been a part of since birth. That's always been her loyalties lie. Even when they infiltrated, because again, it was part of the mission.
And Yang's whole arc, for, you could say, all the seasons, was, why did my mom leave me? Mm-hmm. And then when she finally finds her mom, she never even asks her why. She's just angry and yells at her.
So when you finally have the opportunity, and again, this is writer's liberty. If you finally have an opportunity to finally question the person that actually did something to you, you finally get them into that particular light. But not only do you get to that spot, but you also have other elements that are going on at the exact same time. I.e., she gets there, it's her, it's who we believe to be the Summer Maiden, it's Weiss there, and there are a lot of different elements. And Raven presented her with an option. You can stay right here. You can stay here. I'll tell you everything I can ever need to tell you. We can be whatever you want us to be. She gave her that opportunity. Or you can go through this portal and go see Uncle Crow. But if you go through that portal, we're done. No more. But you choose now. You sought me out. You traveled many miles to come find me. But if you want to go to your sister, you want to go to Uncle Crow, I'll give you a door that'll lead you right to them. So make a hard choice. Do you love me or do you love your sister more? And that's what that came down to. So,
but even so, that was after their conversation. Like she yelled at her after they had the conversation in the camp to talk about, I guess, her backstory, and after Weiss escaped, or I don't know, I can't remember the word, but that was like the last conversation they had.
It was the last conversation, and I believe that conversation, it could have actually been drawn out or at least explained a little bit longer. So I'll give that credit, because again, it was more for time constraints. They started to go on a more of a 22-minute time frame, which is your typical cartoon length. They could have put in a whole extra episode just to kind of dive into that particular element. And I believe, and I could be wrong, Rooster Teeth, let me know if I'm wrong or not.
If you're listening.
Yeah. But it was more along the lines of we need to just get to the meat of the story, because what was not happening.
I'm calling BS on that, because season 5 was slow. It was really slow. So why
that would have made it slower. However, it would have provided proper character development, and that's what I believe is missing right now. So yes, what we saw was a good storyboard, but what it's missing, or what it was lacking, is basically the flushed idea or the flushed out concept to actually provide more of a solid story. Mm-hmm. Because there have been holes, there have been gaps within the story. Like Blake's whole arc in season 5, I thought was just rushed. Like, oh, I want to get the Faunus together. I want to do this, that, and the other. My friend is going out to betray me.
I never liked Blake's story in season 5 at all, and I disliked Yang's story from season 4. I thought that was too slow, and I was just bored, and I thought she should have just got over it faster. So, downside is I actually think the pacing I believe taking Yang out of the entire story for season 4 was necessary. Like, I get it from a story standpoint, just me watching as just a fan.
Oh, it's painful. It's painful. It's painful to watch.
I get why she's going through what she is. I'm just like, come on. Like, I was waiting for something more to happen. It never happened until the last episode.
I would have actually liked for them to dive a little bit more in the post-traumatic stress that was caused from it. More of an anguish to understand why she didn't want to do what she needed to do to get herself back on her feet. So more of the nightmare of the interaction, the fight with Adam, possibly even fight with herself. So this because even the intro for season 4, where the fact that you see her fighting herself and that turmoil that was there, you didn't get that in the series. I got it very, very well in the opening scene, but I did not get that from the entire season. I get what they were trying to do, and I wish they would have fleshed that out a little bit better. But I can totally relate to her just being sidelined that entire season. Now, let's talk about Jupiter, or Team Ranger, as it's now known as. What are your thoughts of John. John, as his characters develop from season 1 through season 5, the development of his semblance.
I like his character. I think they did a good job. His semblance, I feel like, is a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. Because it's strictly just support. It's basically what he's doing. He mentioned in the first season, I think, that he has a lot of strong aura. Mm-hmm. More than probably anyone in the series right now.
Correct.
And basically what he does when he saved Weiss is just giving his aura to her. So that basically multiplying hers.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she can heal herself.
Yeah.
Like, at first I was thinking, oh, he's healing her, like that's what he's doing. But no, he's just giving her more aura to build off of. And I feel like that can really come to bite him in the butt in the future season arc something.
You mean the fact that he actually might end up making the ultimate sacrifice?
That, or even someone finding out what his semblance is and trying to use that against him. Or for whatever reason to capture him. Yeah.
I can see that development. I mean, he still hasn't really, from season 1 through season 5, it's been a struggle for any John fan. Seeing him trying to at least understand his fighting style, because again, that's still not perfect. Mm-hmm. Understanding the fact that his semblance, which he didn't even know that he had until the last 2 episodes of season 5. Pura knew. She didn't know exactly what it was, but she knew it was there.
Well, he even knew it was there. He just didn't know how he activated it.
No, he had no clue that he had a semblance.
The same, because everyone has a semblance.
Not everyone.
Who doesn't?
And the fact that from season 1, he stated the fact that I don't believe I have one. I never activated. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it could possibly be. All I have.
Well, let me say, everyone who has an aura has a semblance.
So that is true. Everyone has an aura, has a semblance. He didn't know how to activate his own aura.
Well, yeah, but then the same episode when he was getting bullied, when he was about to get punched, he activated something.
He healed. He healed rather quickly. However, he still didn't know what he did. He was still truly oblivious to what he could possibly do. He had no clue. Like when he provided her with that, he's like, "Oh crap, this is what I can do."
Yeah, and he was like, "I don't know what I'm doing, and the Bible won't stop."
Yeah. And I became a John fan. Sadly, during season 4, it was during his training in the woods.
He was being depressed.
It was a sad moment. I will admit to this. I actually shed a tear. It was truly sad. Because he was training himself based upon a video that was left for him by a person that he will never see again.
Who knows? Maybe you'll see him again.
Oh, that's Dustin the Wind, bro. Spoiler.
There's still
no hope, bro.
There's still theories.
Theories? We don't have a Thanos time stone here, bro.
I got a few theories, but it's been a while, so I'm gonna say let's cut this episode right now and we can get back to this on another time because it's been 43 minutes.
I gotcha.
All right. So, thanks for everyone who's listening. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. And, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for listening.
Have at thee!